Uh, Hello everyone. Today we are gonna start our conversation come debate for Canada. We are gonna speak about a news article which says that Canada can't have fast population growth, housing supply constraint, and housing affordability by Steve Lafleur and Filipowicz for Inside Policy. So this statement states that at the same time we cannot have housing supply constraint uh, uh, with the growing population, and we cannot have an affordable housing. That's they wanted to say. So, like, what happens is currently Canada is inviting many immigrants as a student on PR and as well as on work visas. By as they are saying that the population is increasing. That is why people do not get a good house, or people do not get the required house as or at the cheap prices. So what happens is, like, for a single house, many people are viewing, and the people who are owning house or who are providing the house on a rent, they do ask for a higher rent, or the person who wanted to sell his house who raise his house price. So this is the reason, like, there is a more demand and less houses because population grown like a hell. But on the other side, houses are not number of houses are not growing that much. So this is the reason why how price of the house is increasing day by day. So yeah, this is the thing. So anyone would like to highlight on the same, they can
Basically,
proceed
Yeah,
further.
yes, Dhruval, I agree with you. Even I am in the favor of you know, the topic that actually describes that the Canada can't have the fast population growth, housing constraints, housing supply constraints, and housing affordability. So in my mind, there are 5 points which are, reflecting. First is economical impact. Second is social disparities. Third is government policies about the housing plans, and the fourth is environment concerns, and fifth is quality of life, right? So I want to start it in a descending order. I will be starting with the quality of life. What I believe is housing affordability impacts the quality of life for many Canadians, affecting their ability to save, invest in education, and enjoy a comfortable standard of living. Right? When people are more, so quality of life will be compromised. On the environmental concerns, what I believe is rapid urbanization due to population growth can strain natural resources and increase carbon emissions unless sustainable urban planning practices are prioritized. So urban planners must do their job in a well manner, that how to settle these people, whether the townhouses should be there, how many flats should be there. So they have to analyze these things. Apart from that, the government policy has played a major role. According to me, the balancing population growth with housing supply requires a careful government intervention, right? Including zoning regulations. So they have to create the zones, in which zone, how many students should live, how many work permit holders or the permanent residents should live, right? So they have to divide the zones between, because they have to give the priority to the Canadians or the red Indians, right? Who are the native to this place. So according to them, they have the they have the priority, I believe. Apart from that, incentives for for developers and social housing programs, which can be challenging to implement effectively. On the other hand, if I talk about the social disparities, so housing affordability issue can exaggerate social inequalities as low and middle income earners struggle to find affordable housing, potentially leading to a social unrest and divide the society. Because who are people who are rich, who have enough earnings, they are not going to be affected by these housing concerns, because they can afford that thing. The major issue comes for the low income earners, right? So on the last point, the economical impact, the rapid population growth can stimulate economic activity, but if the housing supply constraints limit accommodation options, it may lead to uh, pressures and reduce consumer spendings, impacting economical growth. So according to me, these three, can be together. The fast population growth, housing supply constraints, and housing affordability. So I believe I'm clear with my points in the favor. So I will hand over to the next person, whosoever want to add on to this point.
I
Okay, so
happen to
right.
respectfully disagree. Sorry.
Okay.
I
No.
happen to disagree because as a recent debate that happened in the parliament, where they were like, they're going to cap the immigration. And housing right now is not just for the Canadian citizens, it's also for the immigration because 10% of the entire Canadian population is immigrants, basically. So as many as the people that you're getting from outside, you need to house them within the country somewhere. And even if it's on rental basis, that's still housing. So if you're going to cap immigration, I think, respectfully, that's a very silly plan because what you're doing is you're capping up human capital that's going to, then contribute to your economy. And when you have working, able-bodied young population that's coming into your country, they are going to give you revenue. You're going to tax them once they start working. And other than the people who are already in foundation, most of them are already able to work. So you are capping up revenue that's going to your government. It doesn't make sense. So according to me, that's not okay. But in keeping in mind that a lot of the population, about 40% of the entire Canadian population, is between the ages of 40 to 65, and a lot of them are old. And so they are not able to contribute as much as the people that you're capping immigration for are able to provide. So there is really no point in making their lives difficult. Because what's going to happen is if you don't house them, and things are anyways expensive, so they can't afford it. That's another issue. It's written in the article that affordability is another issue, and most of them are students. So you cannot expect a high paying anything from a student. So it's not practical. But what now you have in your hands by doing that is a lot of the people are getting homeless. It's not like the Canadian government is doing much about the drugs. They are doing, but it's not sufficient, is it? There are localities, there are pockets in Vancouver that they don't have a safe neighborhood, so you cannot have housing set up there. So how about clean up all those places and make space instead of saying we don't have space? Clean those areas up and make it viable for these people to actually have a house there. If anyone has something else to say.
I
Yeah,
have some
but
points on this.
yeah, I have also. Sorry.
Yeah, Harsh, you can proceed.
Yeah, but Canadian government is trying to resolve this issue because they are considering that this is a major issue right now, and also they are uh, working with this, and also they put the at interest rate of housing loan at 5%, so that non most of the people can afford houses and they can buy houses. Okay, so and also uh, federal government announces 2-year cap on student permits. Okay, so there will be less immigrants, and population maybe get settled down, and government can help rest of the Canadian people and also other immigrants who came earlier, so that they get some houses. Okay, and also Canadian government reduces the visa application, and currently they are not doing any Canadian visa, giving any visa, so that maybe this could help rest of the people living in Canada. So I think this is a good uh, work from Canadian government. What do you think, Dhruv?
Yeah, the thing is, as he spoke about the immigrants, so as per the record, in the third quarter of 2023, more than 4 lakh immigrants came to Canada, whereas in the whole 2023, the number of house made are just 2 lakhs. So what happens is in 1 quarter, 4 lakh immigrants are coming. So we can say 16 lakh immigrants are coming in a single year, and whereas new house production is just 2 lakh. So this is somewhere like 8 times population growth is somewhere like 8 times more than the houses are gonna supply. So I guess immigrants are the main
Okay, so
reason
Dhruv,
of
I have,
governments.
I have seen the same ratio in one of the national post article in which they have particularly mentioned that the every year the foreign culture is coming, like if we sell delta 10%, like
Yeah,
foreign culture is coming to Canada, it's increased by 10%. But the
yeah,
accommodation which the Canada should have to build to stay them, it's only increased by 5%. So there is a huge gap of the 5%. So if we connect this, so we can solve the elasticity. We learned that this called the elasticity. Like the foreign student are coming here, the ratio is every year increasing by 10,
mm,
20, and 30%. But
mm,
whereas the construction of living area is only increasing by very short area.
Now, to
So there's a
yeah,
huge
aggregating
gap between
the
this.
points of all of the four members, uh, what I believe is if we talk about the revenue, as the Dhruv will talk about that there are more people are coming to this country, right? The one he had added that we have a more space. There's no there's no bound that the Canada is a second
largest country.
second large. We know no housing
Completely not.
affordability should be there, right? So what I believe is that if there's too many people are coming to this country, right? So they're bringing up the business. If more people are coming here, so there should be more demand for the housing supply, right? So there will be more construction programs. Government will get revenue. The more investment is there, it means more business is there. So there will be a new options, right? So according to that, it will be
Yeah,
it will be impacting the revenues of the country, the whole country. Even the think tankers are into it. But there's a one another saying that if the people are coming here, so they're gonna impact the wildlife as well. So there should be the green belt area that is going to be affected, right? So they have to be, if they are going to build the townhouses or any other residential complexes or commercial complexes, so they have to clear the green belt area. So this is what I believe that may impact the economy of the Canada, right? Any other want to add on to it?
Yeah,
Ali,
I
do you have any
happen to
points?
disagree on that. On Dhruva's point, I'd like to get on that
yeah,
the Canadian economy in the third quarter of the 2023, it
mm,
went to 450,000 people more. But actually, the country that we all, most of us anyways, come from, India, um, it happens to, I mean, it's kind of ironical to actually even say this because India's population grew by 1,441,917,852. And India is 3 times smaller than Canada. Canada happens to be the second largest country in the world.
yeah,
So it
But if you
makes me
see the
laugh in a way
infrastructure,
to think
there is a
that,
huge gap between these
let
two
me
countries.
complete,
Okay.
let me complete. Sorry. So I just it makes me kind of laugh that India, being a developing country and with such
mm,
a large population, with possibly the largest youth population there is able to like have make strides in terms of development and even housing. Yeah, we sometimes do have housing crisis. There, every country has its own issues. I'm not saying everyone's perfect, but the fact that they were able to make the most of it, and Canada has way more resources than what India does, definitely,
mm,
then it is not impossible to solve that problem at all. All you have to do is make sure that your resources are not underutilized, what's happening right now. The same issue that is being faced in Canada, New York faced that a few years ago because of how densely populated New York is, and now what we see is New York sky rises because
mm,
they didn't have lateral space available. They started building vertically.
yeah,
So although you had less space, there were more people coming in. So that's one thing. Another thing is, as Mohit said, that you only have as many, houses built compared to how many people are coming in. Why is that happening? One of the main reasons that was debated just, I think, last week in the parliament was that the restrictions on home building. There are restrictions that were laid upon years ago. The situation now is different. You need to take those restrictions off or put new restrictions in. But what's happening is these restrictions are preventing from new houses being built. So that has to be taken care of. So you use a land resource right? So that's
Sorry
my
to
point.
interrupt you in
Go
between,
ahead.
guys. So because as I believe the three of the members haven't participated and time is running out of, so I'm just
Yes.
adding the one point and make the Jigger,
Wait, please.
Ali, and yeah,
Can
I'm
I
just
say
making a
something?
one point which is against the other one is perspective. So she gave the example of the New York, like there's
Okay,
a skyscrapers in the less space are building on. So I would like to take with the example of the Middle East, like the Dubai, the Arab Emirates. They made the artificial islands to grow the housing affordability there, right? So it is not about that, because the Canada is more concerned about the wildlife, right? They consider animals in the same space. They say that the earth belongs to them as well, right? So they don't want to interrupt the forest area, the natural resources like rivers, and the green belt area. So these are the major concerns. If we talk about the human rights, people are more active as compared to the other countries. So these are the major concerns why the housing, the government policies are uh, so rational in this, in this area. So
Okay.
I'll hand over to the Jiggle. Yes.
Oh, in Canada last year in 2023, just government welcoming so many students in Canada. As per report, uh, alone Saskatchewan, sorry, in Kitchener, Conestoga University invited 30,000 students in 2023, and in UCW there were 1,300 students enrolled in the system. So if government has planned accordingly there, that how many students will be coming in the year, and accordingly that they will plan for their residential, like if there is a no more residence for students, then they can plan to build more resident. And if the demand of housing will decrease, then also the price will be less. So affordability comes with the demand decrease. So I think if a government start to build more houses, then also students can afford rent house very easily. So in that view, and in that view, I'm completely opposite side from this topic.
can I say something regarding this? I have
Yeah.
something to oppose. Like as you said, government could increase more houses, but what happens? Like government in immigration doesn't mean just a student. There are people who are coming on PR. There are people who are coming on work permits. And as everyone knows, after Ukraine war, Ukraine-Russia war, more than 200,000 Ukrainians moved to Canada. So
Canada. Yeah,
immigrants
exactly.
are not just a student, as well as we spoke about students. So what happens, like students are coming here on study, and everyone wanted to go for a study for a white collar job, but no one wants to do works which
Labor
are
work,
very
labor
hard
work.
works. No one wanted to join construction sites. No one wanted to go for labor work in construction industry or furniture industry. So what happens is students are coming to get a white collar job, but no one is providing their no one is contributing for the development of housing. That is the reason why the increment in housing number is low. So I guess this immigration of students should be less, so that they can manage the household needs as well as the increase rate of immigrants. So that's my view, and I guess this should be a great idea. Yeah, Ali, you can.
Yeah, sorry guys. So my point of view in my perspective, I think that um, uh, we can have all three at the same time. So basically, with our team, we're suggesting that fast growing population and if the government, if Canada wants fast growing population and also want to restrict the apply restrictions on home building and also coping with housing affordability at the same time, it's not doable. But in my opinion, as previously mentioned, we can provide like, if, for instance, if incentives are provided for developers to build affordable housing units, including tax breaks or subsidies, for instance. So if or for instance, if subsidies are provided to universities to provide accommodation for their students, because we know that already that a great portion, so a portion of uh, of this immigrants or actually international students. So we can have this. Maybe we can have these things, or another alternative is that we can redistribute population growth to areas with housing surpluses and underutilized resources. And there's also, I think, it's also doable. So, for instance, if British Columbia has reached these peaks, so maybe they should redistribute the population to other areas where housing is much more affordable. So yes, we can have this fast growing population rate, and at the same time, but the cost is the opportunity cost here is that we need to provide dormitories compared to, because dormitories have, let's say, it's less private, right? It's like you get my point, right? So what I'm trying to say is that we can have this, we can have all three at the same time. But yeah, the government should step in. Yeah. So
Yes,
that's
I would
all.
like to add in this. Uh, uh, so many people are there who are willing to build more houses in Canadian property or Canadian land,
Uh-huh.
but the rules and regulation of the governments are very strict. So they are not actually making more houses. For example, restrictive zoning rules, or sometimes material prices are also very high in Canada, like lumber and reinforced steel. Uh, Everything is very costly, so it is not affordable to make a house very easily. So if government try to think on that aspect, then I think so many people are uh, build so many houses in the country, and that would be the uh, what we can say solution to overcome this situation.
Okay,
Yeah, I
Jigar,
would
I
like to
totally
add
agree
on
with
this
you, but
point. According to
sorry, Mohit,
me, in
sorry
the
to
recent
disturb.
example here in the BC province, there's a place called Strawberry Hill. The whole plaza was bought by the government and one of private owner realtors. What they are doing is they are converting that into a township, new township. So half of the part is government investing in it, in that program, and the other part is uh, you know investing by the investment is done by the realtors. So they will be making the townships, which is to comply this issue, which is the affordability of the housing complexes here. So I have seen that as the Jigar told that there's a restrictions of government policies and the steels and the other materials, which is they are trading it from the other countries. Everything is imported here on the Vancouver airport, Vancouver the bank areas, right? So they import it on the containers and they transport it to the other provinces like Saskatchewan and uh, Ontario, right? So this is the constraint. So I believe these things cannot be uh, came together. So that's my point. If anybody would like to add on to it, Harsh.
Yeah, actually, yes, Jigar, I am agree with you, but not major extent because there are so many houses right now available, but people are not able to afford it due to high rental prices. So I think government have to interrupt in this part so that people can reduce the rent and more people can afford the houses. So this is my point of view and which I observed and which I read in articles. So I think government have to uh, make concern in this regarding so that new immigrants and also students as well are able to afford these houses.
Yes,
Yes.
definitely. This would help. But what happened? There are very less houses in Canada, particularly today, and because of that, many students and immigrants, like work permit holders and everyone, they are not able to find a house for their own rent and for their own house or a rental house, and so many people are willing to build more houses, but what happened? So in some cases it can take 8 to 10 years to go from acquiring undeveloped land to building housing. So it is I think it takes too much time to build a house in a or community. So if government can reduce that time or process time, so it would be help to develop more houses. And if government develop more houses, then more rental houses available for immigrants. So affordability is also not the concern. So they can more welcome they can welcoming more people. So I think these three things also can go together if government should plan properly.
Yeah, but like the population is increasing day by day, so government should plan something so that population would be in control as well as the housing. Like so, they should work accordingly to manage the population as well as housing, so that everyone should go smoother. So I guess government should do something regarding the same. And like what I would say, this session was really nice. Everyone gave their opinion in a very good way. So for me, it was a nice conversation to having with you all.
Thank you so
It's a
much.
great
It was
Thank
really
you.
fun
Thank
talking
you,
to you.
great
guys.
conversation.
Same here,
Thank you so
guys.
Yep.
much,
Having you on
guys.
board. It was my pleasure. Thank you very much. See you next time in the class.
Yeah,
Thank you all.
Thank you.
thank you,
Thank
guys.
you. See
Yes,
you
yes.
guys.